The Riddle of the Earth, Chapter 11. Character, Distribution and Action of the Drift. The ice theory appears to be based mainly on two grounds. Firstly, it is the only possible way by which those who assume the drift to be more or less moraine can account for the carriage of enormous wakes. Secondly, most of the rocks and stones are found scratched and polished, which is ascribed to friction and pressure caused by icebergs, glaciers, or ice sheets as they scraped and ground their way over the land. Sometimes these stria are deep and clean, as though the stones had come into contact with very sharp and very hard materials. The till, most torn and striated of all, is assumed to have been material clinging to the ice sheets, and in its passage grated heavily over pebbles and stones, which thus grooved and scratched them. Why in such circumstances the till or boulder clay continued to attach itself to the ice is an insuperable difficulty to this theory. Insuperable? Is that a word? I guess. Not uncommonly, the drift includes blocks of rock of considerable size, striated and grooved, and sometimes found balanced or perched in more or less inaccessible positions on mountain tops or sides, occasionally on rock pinnacles, as in the pass of Llanberis, Wales, or in certain parts of Cumberland or Scotland, where neither icebergs nor glaciers could possibly have deposited them. Some of these considerable particles weigh hundreds of tons, but are supposed to have been driven up to the mountain heights by the pressure of ice upon ice, and when the glaciation disappeared, they still remained perched up on those inaccessible heights. The drift in certain localities is of considerable volume and depth, and is essentially curious by reason of its erratic distribution. For example, the granite drift of Kirkcudbrightshire is found in Lancashire and North Wales. The Westmoreland Chap granite is also discovered in the plain of York between Whitby and Scarborough. Cumberland has the same boulders as the igneous strata of Cheshire. Lincolnshire and Yorkshire reveal similar deposits as the London area, and boulder clay on the Norfolk coast near Cromer is duplicated in Norway. These eccentricities, which have puzzled geologists, are only explicable by the theory that a body or bodies came from the northeast or north and covered so wide an area that Scandinavia and Cromer and the various places mentioned where the drift fell in its contorted forms were visited simultaneously, if it were possible to examine the bed of the North Sea beneath the accumulations of sand, shingle and clay, it would probably reveal a more or less continuous path of this classified and unclassified drift strata.